The emergency beacon cut through the void of space like a scream in the darkness. Admiral Fisser of the Corvan Hegemony received the transmission on her flagship Eternal Dominion, her 6 eyes narrowing as she read the impossible message. Human vessel detected in the neutral zone, requesting immediate assistance. Fisser's mandibles clicked in what passed for laughter among her species. Humans? The bipedal mammals who barely crawled out of their gravity well 50 cycles ago? What could they possibly want in the middle of the galaxy's most dangerous territorial dispute? For 300 cycles, the Corvan Hegemony and the Ethereal Collective had been locked in a cold war over the neutral zone, a buffer of space containing 17 systems rich in quantum crystals. Neither side could claim it without triggering a galactic war. So they maintained an uneasy stalemate, with patrol fleets constantly testing boundaries and exchanging threats. Admiral, her communications officer hissed. The human vessel is the UES Peacekeeper. They claim to be responding to distress calls from both our forces and the Collective. Fisser's secondary arms flexed, a sign of irritation. Patch me through to their captain. The holographic display flickered to life, revealing a human male with greying hair and calm blue eyes. Captain Marcus Chen looked completely at ease, despite being surrounded by 2 of the galaxy's most powerful military forces. Admiral Fisser, Chen said with a sly bow. Thank you for accepting my communication. What are you doing here, human? Fisser demanded. This is a restricted zone. Your primitive vessel had no business in our affairs. Chen's expression didn't change. We received distress calls from multiple sources. Mining crews, research stations, civilian vessels. All trapped in this zone while your fleets posture at each other. We're here to evacuate them. Before Fisser could respond, another transmission came through. Admiral Vaikstai of the Ethereal Collective materialized as a shimmering energy form beside Chen's image. The human speaks truth. Vaikstai's voice resonated like wind chimes. But their presence here is still unwelcome. This is collective space. Corvan space, Fisser corrected sharply. Disputed space, Chen interjected calmly. And right now, there are 17,000 civilians of various species caught in the middle. That's our only concern. Fisser studied the human captain. His ship was small, barely a frigate by Corvan standards. Yet he spoke with the confidence of someone commanding a battle fleet. Either he was insane, or humans were even more primitive than she thought. One small ship, she mused aloud. What exactly do you think you can accomplish? Whatever it takes, Chen replied simply. The first rescue attempt came 6 hours later. The Peacekeeper approached Research Station Omega-7, where 43 scientists from 6 different species had been stranded for 2 weeks. The station sat directly on the border between Corvan and Collective patrol routes, a no man's land where neither side could intervene without appearing to make the first aggressive move. Fisser watched from her command bridge as the human vessel docked with the station. Her tactical officer, Commander Zax, leaned over his console. Admiral, should we intercept? They're technically in our territorial waters. Let them proceed, Fisser decided. I want to see what these mammals think they can accomplish. What happened next surprised everyone. The Peacekeeper didn't just evacuate the scientists. It began repairing the station's damaged life support systems. Human engineers worked alongside Corvan technicians and collective energy beings, sharing tools and knowledge as if they'd been colleagues for years, instead of strangers from different species. How are they doing that? Zax wondered aloud, watching the feed from the station. Our people barely tolerate each other on the best of days. Fisser noticed it too. Humans seem to have a gift for finding common ground. They didn't take sides or show favoritism. They simply focused on the task at hand, treating every life as equally valuable. But the real test came when Corvan patrol ships intercepted the Peacekeeper on its way to the next rescue site. Human vessel, came the transmission from Commander Krex, leader of the patrol squadron. You are in violation of hegemony space. Surrender for processing. Captain Chen's response was broadcast on all frequencies. Commander, we're on a humanitarian mission. We have no military objectives and pose no threat to anyone. That's not your decision to make, Krex snarled. Prepare to be boarded. What happened next will be talked about in military academies for generations to come. The Peacekeeper didn't flee. It didn't raise shields or power weapons. Instead, it broadcast a simple message that appeared on every screen in both fleets. Warning, You are interfering with a humanitarian operation protected under Galactic Convention 12A. This vessel is equipped with emergency broadcast systems that will alert all major galactic powers to any hostile action taken against non-combatant rescuers. Then something unprecedented happened. The ship began broadcasting live feeds from inside its medical bay, where rescued civilians from a dozen species were receiving treatment. Corvan children played alongside collective younglings, while human medics tended to their injuries. The feeds went out on every major galactic news network simultaneously. Impossible, Visser breathed. How did they bypass our communication blocks? Her intelligence officer, a nervous Corvan named Plix, stammered his response. Admiral, their communication systems are... We've never seen anything like them. They're broadcasting through quantum entanglement networks we didn't even know existed. Suddenly, humans didn't seem so primitive. This seems like a good place to pause and appreciate what we're witnessing. If you're enjoying this story of human ingenuity in the face of impossible odds, please hit that subscribe button. We got plenty more tales of humanity surprising the galaxy. The rescue operation continued for 3 days. Each time Corvan or collective forces tried to interfere, they found themselves facing a new challenge. When Corvan's ships blocked the Peacekeeper's path, it would suddenly appear on the other side of the system, having somehow used technology that defied known physics. When collective energy forms tried to disable its systems, they discovered that human ships were shielded by something that made their usual tactics useless. But the humans never fought back. They simply worked around every obstacle, rescuing more civilians while broadcasting their progress to an increasingly interested galaxy. Admiral Vextai contacted Thesa on the 4th day, his energy form flickering with what she recognized as confusion. Admiral, he said, my science cast has been analyzing the human vessel. Their technology is unexpected. Meaning? Meaning they've been watching us for far longer than we realized. They know our capabilities, our limitations, our weaknesses, yet they use this knowledge only to avoid conflict, not to exploit it. Thesa felt a chill run through her exoskeleton. Are you saying they've been spying on us? I'm saying they've been preparing for this exact scenario. Look at their ship design. It's built specifically to operate in contested space without threatening anyone, where Medical Bay can treat every major species in the galaxy. Their communication systems can penetrate any jamming we might use. This isn't a rescue ship, Admiral. It's a peace ship, designed from the ground up to make war impossible. The full implications hit Thesa like a meteor strike. Humans hadn't stumbled into this situation, they'd engineered it. While the Corvan Hegme and the Ethereal Collective had spent centuries building weapons to destroy each other, humans had built something far more dangerous. The ship that made those weapons irrelevant. The crisis came to a head when both fleets received the same message simultaneously. A distress call from the mining vessel Prosperity, carrying 300 civilians from both empires. The ship was stranded in the exact center of the neutral zone, where neither side could rescue it, without crossing into the other's claimed territory. This is our chance, Commander Zack suggested. We rescue our people and show the galaxy that the Hegme protects its own. The Collective will never allow it, Visser replied. They'll see it as an invasion. Then we fight them, Zack said simply. End this Cold War once and for all. But before Visser could respond, Captain Chen's voice filled the bridge. Admiral Visser, Admiral Vexai, I need to speak with both of you, now. The meeting took place aboard the Peacekeeper in a conference room that somehow managed to accommodate both Visser's bulky exoskeleton and Vexitai's energy form. Captain Chen sat across from them, looking tired but determined. Gentlemen, ladies, he began, we have a problem. The Prosperity is in trouble, but that's not the real crisis. The real crisis is what happens after we save those people. Visser's mandibles twitched. Explain. Chen activated a holographic display showing the neutral zone. For 300 cycles, you've maintained peace through mutual deterrence. Neither side can move without triggering a war, so nobody moves. It's stable, but it's also static. No progress, no growth, no cooperation. That is the nature of power balance, Vexitai observed. No, Chen said firmly. That's the nature of fear, and fear is a terrible foundation for civilization. If you're amazed by Captain Chen's boldness and facing down 2 galactic superpowers, smash that like button. Let's see if we can get this video to 1,000 likes. He changed the display to show Earth's history. My species went through something similar. We had two major powers locked in a Cold War for decades, each capable of destroying the other, each afraid to make the first move. You know what ended it? Superior firepower? Fisher guessed. Economic collapse, Chen replied. Both sides spent so much on weapons that they forgot to build anything else. When the end came, it wasn't through war, it was through bankruptcy. The display shifted to show economic rejections for both empires. You're heading down the same path. Military spending consumes 70% of both your empire's resources. Your people are suffering while you build bigger fleets to threaten each other. Vextai's form brightened. You suggest we simply stop? I suggest you find a better way to compete, Chen said. Instead of seeing who can build the most devastating weapons, try seeing who can build the most amazing civilization. He showed them images of human colonies, worlds where multiple species work together, sharing knowledge and resources to create something greater than the sum of its parts. This is what we learned from our Cold War, Chen continued. The enemy of progress isn't your opponent, it's isolation. When you spend all your energy preparing to fight the other, you have no energy left to grow. Fisher studied the images. Human colonies did seem more prosperous than most Corvan worlds. And do you think the hegemony and collective could work together? I think you're already natural partners, Chen replied. Corvans are incredible engineers and builders. The collective are master theorists and energy manipulators. Separately, you're powerful. Together, you could transform the galaxy. Impossible, Fisher said automatically. We've been enemies for too long. Have you? Chen asked. When was the last time you actually fought each other? Not posturing, not threatening, actually fighting. Fisher thought about it. The last real battle between their forces had been over 50 cycles ago, and even that had been a border skirmish. We maintain readiness, she began. You maintain theatre, Chen interrupted. Both your fleets know this Cold War serves a purpose. It keeps your military-industrial complexes profitable and your politicians popular. But it's not serving your people. The human captain stood and walked to the viewport, where both fleets could be seen maintaining their careful distances. The civilians trapped on the Prosperity represent both your empires, he said. They're miners, not soldiers. Engineers, not warriors. They don't care about territorial disputes or ancient grudges. They just want to go home to their families. He turned back to face the two admirals. Here's what I propose. Joint rescue operation. Corvan engineering expertise and collective energy manipulation, working together to save lives. Show the galaxy what you can accomplish when you stop pointing guns at each other. The rescue of the Prosperity became the most watched event in galactic history. Billions of beings across hundreds of worlds watched as Corvan and collective vessels worked in perfect coordination, their crews sharing techniques and resources that neither could have managed alone. Corvan tractor beams, enhanced by collective energy fields, pulled the damaged ship from the debris field where it had been trapped. Collective medical teams, supported by Corvan emergency equipment, treated injured civilians with unprecedented efficiency. Human coordinators facilitated every step, translating not just languages but entire ways of thinking. When the last civilian was safely evacuated, something extraordinary happened. The crews from both fleets didn't immediately return to their formations. Instead, they remained together, talking, sharing meals, exchanging contact information. Admiral, Commander Zax reported to Fisher, our people are socializing with collective personnel. I can see that, Fisher replied, watching through the viewports as Corvan engineers demonstrated their tools while collective energy beams showed off their latest techniques. And should we order them to return to their ships? Fisher watched a young Corvan technician laughing at something a collective entity had shown him. When was the last time she'd seen that kind of joy on a military vessel? No, she decided. Let them learn from each other. The transformation didn't happen overnight. It took months of negotiations, false starts, and careful diplomacy. But gradually, the neutral zone became something new, not a buffer between enemies, but a laboratory for cooperation. Joint research stations replaced military outposts. Combined patrols kept the peace while also sharing knowledge. Trade routes flourished where once only warships had travelled. The humans played a crucial role throughout, not as leaders, but as facilitators. They had a gift for finding common ground, for translating between different species and different ways of thinking. Most importantly, they never tried to take control. They simply made cooperation possible. Captain Chen stood on the bridge of the Peacekeeper 1 year later, watching as Corvan and collective ships patrolled the space lanes together. The transformation still amazed him. "Captain?" his communications officer called out. "We're receiving a message from Earth Command. There's a situation developing in the Andromeda Gateway. 3 different species are locked in a territorial dispute, and civilian populations are caught in the middle." Chen smiled. "Set course for Andromeda. It sounds like they need some mediators." As the Peacekeeper jumped to hyperspace, its automated beacon began broadcasting the message that had become famous throughout the galaxy. "This is a human peace vessel. We're here to help." That's the end of our story. Verhini kontidlakti. In the comments below, tell me, if you were Captain Chen, what would be your strategy for bringing these 2 empires together? Would you try diplomacy first, or would you have taken a different approach entirely? Your insights might inspire our next story. Epilogue. The Neutral Zone Accords became the template for peaceful conflict resolution throughout the galaxy. Within a decade, similar cooperative zones had been established in 17 different sectors, each one overseen by human peace vessels. Humanity never sought to rule these regions. They simply provided the tools and expertise needed for former enemies to become partners. Their ships carried no weapons of war, only instruments of peace, medical equipment, communication arrays, construction drones, and most importantly, the knowledge of how to build bridges where once there had been no walls. The galaxy learned that the most dangerous weapon wasn't a planet killer or a reality warping device. It was something far more subversive, the ability to make war seem pointless. Humans had mastered not the art of destruction, but the art of making destruction unnecessary. And in a universe where every species had learned to fight, that made them the most powerful force of all. The warning systems on human ships no longer announced the arrival of war vessels. Instead, they broadcast a simple message that struck fear into the hearts of warmongers and hope into the hearts of the oppressed. Human peace vessel detected. Resistance is futile. You will be negotiated with.